Thank you everyone for joining us in the session today. So I'm honored to discuss about a very important topic in the e-commerce about the women who is the driving e-commerce in Indonesia, but also globally, right? So before I introduce myself, I would like to introduce my panelists here.
My name is Tiolina and I'm from Gaudi Dwi Laras.
Hello, I'm Rizky. I'm from L'Oreal Indonesia.
All right, okay. So we are waiting for one more panelist from Lux Asia. Okay. Should we start?
Yeah, I think you can start.
All right, okay.
Yeah, you can start. You can introduce yourself and then you can start.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to introduce myself. My name is Robbie. I lead the digital practice at Accenture Indonesia here. So if you are looking at the digital, we are dividing our digital practice into digital customers, digital enterprises, and digital operations. And especially if you are talking with a lot with the clients right now in Indonesia and also in the South Asia region, they are looking for some guidance in terms of digital strategy and especially on the digital customers. So right now is the digital customers, as you can see here in the 2 days event, that e-commerce is right now is a very trendy topics. And if you are looking at the market and if you are looking at the key importance factors and the trends, women's are the key factors to driving the e-commerce. If you are looking at the social media influencers, they are mostly women, right? So we know our mothers, wives, and daughters are also using the e-commerce mobile bank. It is very heavily. So that's why we would like to share our discussion and point of view today regarding from the fashion perspective, from the cosmetic perspective, and how we can influence and how can get the women as a key driving customer. All right.
Sure,
Okay.
I'm preparing my data based on your homework, so it's a good moderator. I prepare everything.
All right, okay. So I would like to invite our panelists here to share some insights and perspective regarding how is your products or how your services positioned in the market right now, and how do you see the client behavior and also some challenges in the Indonesian context. I would like to, ladies first.
Okay. What our segmentation right now is Gaudi is very fast fashion. Hafiz will join.
That's okay, go on.
We just go on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Gaudi is really fast fashion and we cope for 18 until 35 of age. And we really love to, our product is, we are a fastest fashion, so for 1 week we can provide 30 new arrival, new clothing, new arrival. So it means really fast, and we are what our, very, no, I mean we are really good lower price. We are really lower price, and we have, I mean, we have a lower price, and we get fastest fashion, and you can get in online and offline too from us. That's our segmentation right now, and our customer is most of all millennial and can using the digital. This is
All right.
us.
So before we are going to deeper into your market segment regarding
Yeah.
the fashion and also targeting the millennials, the teens,
Yeah.
I would like to ask the other panelists first to introduce the products and the markets.
Hi, I'm a bit late there, apologies. My name's Avis, I work for Lux Asia. We're a beauty products distributor, retailer and e-tailer. We have 140 products across 11 Asian, North Asian and Southeast Asian countries. In Indonesia, you'll know us as Benefit, Makeup Forever, Issey Miyake, Bulgari. We think about segmentation by brands differently. But we also think about segmentation in a way that says everyone's a beauty customer. We're in the masstige to prestige segment. So we think that if people want to engage with beauty, and they want to engage with beauty in a way that they want to come to our products rather than being in the mass market, lots of people are in both. In fact, I am. I'm sure lots of you are. Then we think about how do we get to them. So if I look at Luxasia's customers as a whole, we are 80% women, 20% men. We go from very young to very old, and brands will differ. So an example, Yves Rocher or Burberry will tend to be, Yves Rocher will tend to be younger, Burberry will be a little bit older. We work our way right through to La Prairie, which is very premier skincare. They will also be a little bit older. That's not to say that people who are older don't buy YR and people who are younger don't buy La Prairie. So we think about segmentation in a way that if you've expressed interest and you've shown interest in what we do, then we will engage with you with content that we hope you find interesting. So we do also do the usual 20 to 45, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of 45-plus-year-olds out there who also buy a lot of beauty products, and we want to make sure we're very, very inclusive.
Okay,
My
thank
turn?
you. Yes.
Okay. Based on what I learned, we're talking about the market dynamics and customer segmentation maybe in online. Back in 2012, when I was working with one of the biggest e-commerce platform now, 80% of the consumer are male. Because maybe that day, male are more technology savvy, so they know the e-commerce first. And up until maybe 2015, 2016, electronic is still the highest category contributor. So that's why I guess it makes sense if it's male, it's still the main consumer. But in some platform right now, female is the majority. It's around, in some platform it's 85% female. Because health and beauty, up until the latest data from, I forgot the name, 2017, health and beauty is category number 2, biggest contributor. After fashion, even now electronic goes into number 3. So now, I agree with this topic today, female is the key dominant for the future of e-commerce in Indo. And if I need to divide the woman inside this category, let's just divide by age. The millennials and the more mature one. The differentiation between them for makeup. Millennials, they are willing to try something new. So they're not really loyal to one brand, a bit promo hunter, slightly price sensitive. So that's why the approach need to be a bit different, a bit creative with them. Because by default, what I believe and understand, makeup actually is not really price sensitive consumer. Not that price sensitive compared to electronics. Makeup, especially for the premium one like you, is more about marketing communication, is the message. You're gonna be loyal to the brand as long as the image of those brands are still there. So the youngest consumer in online, they were like more price sensitive and not loyal, but the more mature one, it's more like the premium consumer of the makeup. So that's more or less the differences on the female audience in my case.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a good overview regarding all of the segmentation on how you group your customer, targeting your customer across the products for the fashion industry, for the makeups, and Rizky has also shared some of the very interesting dynamic on the market itself, especially on the online e-commerce, that females right now is driving the e-commerce market as a whole, right? So probably if you can share what the challenges do you see in terms of growing your market, growing your sales, retaining the sales in compared to your competitors, for example, in Indonesia? Anyone can share, yes.
So I'm happy to start there. I think there's always challenges in every business. The challenge is always joining up the store right through to the back end. So you know, all the good things that we've always done in store is a challenge online as well. You have to get your demand planning right. You have to get your assortment right. You have to keep changing that assortment. You have to stay relevant to the market. In Indonesia, there is some challenges on importation, and we certainly import everything and make sure that we're very, very honest and upright about what we do, and we applaud, you know, the red light scheme within Indonesia, because that really helps our business. But mainly what you have to do is stay relevant. And the way we think about that is consumers will come into brands and consumers will leave brands. I hope they always stay with a Luxasia brand, and we like to think that we can attract them across there. But from a challenge point of view, as you move, you have to think about the whole supply chain. So as a offline store going into online or marketplaces or own brand recom, doesn't matter how, you have to think about how that impacts your whole organization. So for us, it's meant things like we've had to turn our entire warehouse around to be able to make pick and pack much, much faster and much more efficient. And you know, that's something that you don't think when you start off and saying, oh, the market's going to digital, let's go into a marketplace. Actually, the impact across your whole organization is huge if you're going to have a fantastic customer experience. And you have to think big when you start changing.
All right. Probably Rizky or Lina can share also.
What our challenge in Gaudi is because the demography right now, because we have a lot of brand. We have a lot of branches on Indonesia, and for fashion, some of our customer in Sumatra, Java, or in Sulawesi have a different taste. They have a different taste, and it's really challenging for us for make some product to can acceptance by all region. This is one. And number two, we have a challenge for the logistic. How we distribute our product to all store because we have offline, we want to combine the online and offline, so it's really challenging for us too. So I think a lot of, but I think it's a lot of opportunity in there too. So because we have an online, offline, so people, what we want to do right now is people can buy convenient in our store in online, and if they're not really happy with the online, they can swap to right now.
So I have the same tone more or less with Afis that for makeup category is it's way more complex. Means let's look at the SKU levels. When I was selling electronics 1.5 years ago, we have only 150 SKUs in total. The hero SKUs only 20 maybe. So as simple as S8 will become S8 until S9 coming in, but it's a long way. But in makeup, we have 1,500 SKUs, and the hero SKUs could be like 200 or 250s. And the hero SKUs will change like maybe bi-weekly. So imagine this week I need to push my red lipsticks, next week I need to push mascara, the other weeks I need to push it's another makeup thing. So it's way more complex. That's why relevancy on the digital approach is required. But we are lucky that on this market, the online market, we have the raw data to make decisions, to analyze, to make what kind of campaign or activities we need to do. So based on those data. Just to answer your question about the challenge on how to retain and to growth, I will simply say that to retain, the challenge for makeup category for me is to be creative inside the platform, because there are many new, both local and interlocal players, which offers per price. So they're not offering the brand. It's different with yesterday I talked on the other session that if it's electronic, it's Apple. When consumer purchase Apple, you buy also the brand. You use the product, you have the brand name and logo. For makeup, Sorry, so it's a different with makeup. So even though you use, let's say, Chanel lipstick or Maybelline lipstick, nobody knows it is Chanel or Maybelline. They just look at the colors. So it's way more complex. So to retain the consumer, we need to be more creative because the competition inside the platform itself, it's very high right now. And to grow, maybe the same problem with everyone. Infrastructure, let's focus on the payment, let's say. Too many options, there's no single payment method that can valid for all the platforms. Logistic-wise, for my case, FMCG product is very cheap. The cost ratio of the delivery fee versus the product itself, it doesn't make sense. If you're selling electronics, you have one warehouse in Jakarta, ship all over Indonesia, it's okay. But if it's makeup, you need to have a lot of warehouses or at least to have the significant and reasonable cost ratio on the logistic.
This is sharing economy, right? So basically, thank you for sharing with us all of the challenges. So we agree that e-commerce is not only building a marketplace, right? So building an online shop is not enough, right? So you need to encounter the external and the internal factors as well. So you are mentioning about the logistic, you're mentioning about the production, and you are mentioning also regarding the brand loyalty of your customer, because the customer has own the customer experience journey according to the class, the segmentation as well, right? So, but I think the bottom line is that, as you mentioned previously, stay relevant, right? Because the competition is worth to take, because the women as a potential your customer to retain and to grow the market share for the women is beneficial for your products, right? So probably we are nearing our event here. So probably you can share one or two examples or initiatives to encounter those kind of challenges as well, right?
Okay. What we do in Gaudi to cope the challenge is right now we change the quantity of the production. Right now we make a various fashion for our customer in limited edition. It's really work for Gaudi right now, and I think this is the best decision we can do, because our customer, even with the lowest price and the cheapest price, they can still get, they can really proud to say this is a limited edition. This is what we highlight and our marketing tools right now.
So we look at how to personalize our products and services. So stay relevant. We look at how do you choose what works, what doesn't work, how would you apply, what are the results, how would you feel? And I think that's a time-honored way of doing things, but you have to use that doing technology as well, because beauty tech and the way consumers react to things is changing. The other thing I think we all have to do is make sure that we stay relevant to millennials as well as the rest of the population, because the rest of the population will also go into stores and experiences that millennials love, but millennials won't come back the other way. So there's lots to consider. Being relevant is a never-ending and never completed job.
Maybe I will just summarize my answer into what I learned from this industry in terms of the consumer. Maybe was the offline consumer and online consumer was actually a same human being. It's not a different human. Only the way the online consumer finding information in order to make a decision is a bit different. So what they want, what they need is actually the same, but the way they finding the information is different. So maybe the brands and any business needs to be more empathy, need to be more understand this consumer, especially because this is woman. You need to understand there more than understanding men.
Is it something like a pragmatic solution, like women-focused design apps or something like that? Because they're using the mobiles differently, like a male.
Yes, more or less, and especially, let's say on the
business profitability point of view, because woman was actually not really price sensitive. They are more emotional on buying the product. So if you can be creative on delivering the message, it's going to be better for your business. Because I'm learning a lot from electronics that for male audience, no matter what kind of creativity you're trying to do, they will be price sensitive. They will be very logic and rational. If this is the specification, then the ideal price should be this amount. A woman, no. If you're using a good message on the KOL, on the visuals, sometimes they don't need the product when they purchase the product.
All right. Okay.
So it's good for the P&L. It's a matter of how creative you are on approaching.
All
the
right.
market.
Thank you for highlighting the psychological effect as well, right? So, okay, before we are moving to our closing segment, I would like to invite the audience to ask any questions to our panelists, if any. Okay, no questions. So I think I will invite each of the panelists to have like a closing statement. What is your lessons learned in a very short sentence?
Okay, very quickly, experience is everything. If you get it wrong, customers will leave you. Doesn't matter whether they love you or not.
It's a very quick closing statement. I have like one, 2 or 3 paragraph here. So maybe just to simplify like this, my friend asked me, how does it feel being a father, having a kids? Well, I said, my first daughter, she's Gemini, she's 3 years old, and she's woman. So it's very complicated, if you ask me, how does it feel? Because you need to understand what they want differently with the other consumer. And related to the, I'll go into the topic, the trending in the recent month for business principles. Let's say they're saying that the consumer behavior in terms of their buying power was changing. That's why the retail store was shutting down. I agree that the consumer behavior is changing, but I disagree that their buying power is slowing down. I disagree because many reports say that on the past 3 years, on this new era, the buying power of Indonesian actually increased. Our salary is increased. The delivery cost, the transportation cost decrease. You have someone like Gojek and everything, makes everything cheaper. So the buying power is not decreased, but the behavior of those consumers is changing. So quoting one of the best quotes when the offline and online transportation was fighting a few years ago, they said that in the era where technology drives the business, it's either you adapt or you die.
Okay, for me, the key success factor right now is we need to manage our change and we need to adapt with the change. If we are not manage well the change, then yeah, like as you can say, we will die.
Okay. Okay, thank you for our panelists today for sharing insights, experiences, and also some statements. If not any question anymore, then I would like to close this session. Thank you for